Hey guys, how's it going? Eli here, back with another video where today we're going to be having a conversation about something crazy that literally just happened and was announced yesterday. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So as always, got to get it out of the way. We're doing weekly giveaways each and every week. All you have to do to enter is be subscribed to the YouTube channel, leave a like, comment down below on any of the videos we post each and every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That allows you for 3 opportunities to enter, since you can comment and like each of those videos. And then we also have 3 winners on top of that are each going to win 8 Brilliant Star booster packs. So 3 ways to win, 3 ways to enter. So you've just got pretty good odds. And then once we hit 2,500 subs, which we are blowing by our sub goal. So like when in regards to like the speed, we've literally gained almost like 250 subs in like the past week. So I can't thank you guys enough, especially those who are new to the channel. Just want to welcome you. I can't thank you guys all so much for how much growth we've really exploded in the past couple of months. So I don't expect things to slow down, and yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. So once we hit that 2,500 subscriber mark, then we're going to be giving away 12 packs instead of 8, and I'm just going to continue to keep giving back as we grow more and more as a channel. But let's just jump right into it. So what do I mean? We have some very interesting news. So for you guys that did not watch my Monday video, I basically did a full-on kind of discussion on whether I think potentially this is the bottom 115. Do I think that the price of Brilliant Star is going to go down more because the trickling of wave 2 is going to continue to affect the prices? Or do I think this is it and we have no confirmation of any sort of wave 3? Well, obviously, for those who watched it, just to give you a brief synopsis, I said basically that if you want to get in at 115, I think that's a great price to get in at. And for those people that are wondering, well, where can I get it for 115? Let's see if it's still available. But Gamer Nerds, or Game Nerds, I think is what they're just called. Game Nerds was offering them for 115 when I was shooting the video. So it looks like they should still be available as long as they're not sold out. Yep, still available. So yeah, that's the cheapest place as it currently stands right now that we know about where you can buy it for that price. So and I just made the statement basically saying, hey, if you get in at that 115 price point and it goes down, then congratulations, you're just dollar cost averaging at a decent price point. And if it goes up and that is the absolute bottom, then obviously you just got in at the absolute bottom. So that's just a conversation that I wanted to have with you guys, because I had so many people ask me, Eli, is it going to keep going down? Eli, is this it? Is this the bottom? And obviously I'd initially told you guys my kind of goal was, hey, if I'm right about this and I say that, we are going to hit that price point of 110, 115, or sorry, 110, 100. If I'm right about it, then you're going to be able to get in at a great opportunity. But if I'm wrong about it and 115 is the bottom, then obviously, now knowing that, I've reiterated my statement, then guess what? You're going to be able to still get in at an amazing opportunity. So now we're going to have a funny conversation about how I'm wrong about being wrong. So I was initially right, but I didn't know I was right because of the news that was just announced yesterday. So literally I was talking on my live stream with a bunch of the homies, and we were kind of just having a general discussion about everything with Brilliant Star. And one of them had informed me that Danny Phantom, and then this is where my source is, because I always want to name my sources. You can go check out one of his most recent YouTube videos. Had made a video discussing about how he got a call from his distributor confirming that Wave 3 for Brilliant Star is going to be coming out in May. I repeat, Wave 3 is going to be coming out in May as per his distributor. Now, I haven't called my distributor yet, and so I'll keep you guys updated on what they say. But as far as it goes, if this is true, which, I mean, he's a credible source, of course it's true, but the real question is that for every single distributor? Because obviously each and every distributor is going to be getting product at different times. They're going to be getting different amounts of product at separate times. So the question really becomes next is, how incremental of a wave is this going to be? Like, how big of a wave is this? The expectation, in my personal opinion, is this is probably going to be a pretty big wave, and my original price target of $110 and $100 will eventually be met. So now the real question is, what's kind of the time frame and what's kind of the pathing about how that's going to happen? So I think you would see it go twofold. I think either one, when looking at just the general chart of Brilliant Star. Obviously, it's a very new chart, so it's very static, but we can just say, based on what I personally think, that what you'll probably see is it, obviously, you know, there's a premium price, so just bear with me on this. You'll probably see either one of two things happen. You'll see either the premium price stick around and basically go flat for, you know, the next couple of weeks and then gradually begin to rise, because the market hasn't recognized the fact of the matter that the market is going to be getting a reprint in May. So basically, you'll see it go sideways for a couple of weeks. It'll start to finally climb, and then once it hits May, it dumps. So it could dump at that 140 price point. It could dump at that 150 price point. We don't know how much it's going to go up until May. May is literally 2 months away from us. So there's actually a lot of time based on how volatile this market can be on its up and down swings. Option number 2 of what could happen is the market could hear the news and immediately react. And you could see prices specifically on eBay go up for pre-order, and it's going to cause a lot of the prices to dump. You could see a lot of people start to panic sell, thinking, oh my God, May wave is going to happen. Everything's going to start dropping, so we need to start selling now. And here's my kind of counter arguments to both of those. So counter argument number 1, in regards to the second argument of, hey, everything's going to start dropping, the sky is falling. There is always going to be a premium in the United States specifically for getting an item right now. People in America have a so much instant gratification mentality. And so when it comes to pre-ordering a product, you know, a month or two in advance versus getting a product now, they're going to pay that extra 20 because they want it now. They want to open the product now. They want to have it now. So in their eyes, spending that extra 20, 30 bucks, depending upon how much it drops, for the current prices right now, doesn't really seem in their eyes to be, you know, that bad of a price to be receiving it right now. So that's kind of one of the counter arguments I would say in regards to, oh my goodness gracious, the prices are going to start falling right away. Now, the other counter argument to the first one, which the first one is it goes sideways and then it eventually, you know, gradually climbs up over time, is that the individuals that basically have been holding on to their product and have been anticipating the price to climb and slowly getting rid of it, or the individuals that currently have their prices listed, are going to start to naturally panic and compete over the news, which is then going to cause a general free fall of kind of just competition, just trying to one up each other, or literally one lower each other, where every single person's like, I'm going to list it for 126. I'm going to list it for 155, or sorry, 125.50. And then I'm going to list it for 125. And then slowly it just keeps climbing down the ladder. So you could see it go one of two ways, obviously. So there's a good counter argument to be made for both. But I feel like a really good example that you could really take a look to is take Vivid Voltage Elite Trainer boxes, for example. These are not expected to come out until May. However, there was a reprint announced back in of last month, I want to say, near the end of last month. So take everything with a grain of salt. But the price of the Elite Trainer boxes has gone from $100 all the way down to $78. Now, of course, you know, you can take everything I say, like I said, with a grain of salt, however you want to interpret it. But in my mind, I don't think it's a coincidence that the price has started to drastically dip since the announcement. And I can go back and I can take a look and see when my video, you know, came out and when I found out about my allocations. Looking back on it, it looks as if that's the big, you know, kind of reprint wave was announced on February 9th. That is when I said massive news. You can go check that video. February 9th, massive news, Shining Fates and Vivid Voltage. So what do you see? February 9th, $100. 1 week later, dumps. So it's obviously not a coincidence that the Vivid Voltage panic really started to happen, where a lot of people were racing and then it had found that eventual bottom. So with that, what could you see happen with the Brilliant Star booster boxes if it does follow the same pattern of the Vivid Voltage? I see that right now. You could see Brilliant Star prices on the site go from, just if we're comparing a general percentage perspective, it went from $100 to, you know, $80. That's about a 20% drop. So if we were to say it's going to drop 20% from here, you know, that's 127, we'll say. So if you want to really do the rough estimate and say, okay, well, what's 20% of that? That's going to be around, I mean, I'll just do the math right here. That's 127 times 0.2. It's going to come out to around $25 drop. So that'll hit it exactly at that $100 price point. Now, of course, is that guaranteed that's exactly going to happen? Is it guaranteed it's going to hit that vivid voltage, you know, kind of swing downwards and we could really see that affect the market? No, of course not. And to be honest with you, I think the former is more likely, where you see it more or less go sideways because there's so much more supply of product when it comes to Brilliant Star booster boxes. So when it comes to Vivid, there's not as much because there was such a limited reprint during the time of like the 2020 demand spike. And so that's why the market really took more effect to Vivid Voltage, since there was so much less supply. So it just takes a lot less people to really just come to the market to really make a change, versus since there's so much more Brilliant Star supply, you're going to have you're going to need to have a large rush of people just coming to the market to compete for that. Hopefully that generally makes sense. Obviously, there's a level of, I mean, let me put it for you this way. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, let's say there's, and this is just going to be an example for people to understand if you don't understand the concepts that I'm kind of trying to portray. So let's say there's 5 Vivid Voltage booster boxes in existence, right? Well, let's say that they're each going for $5,000. If one individual decides that they want to list that booster box, right, for the price point of $4,500, since there's 4 other competitors, you're going to be getting the best deal at that $4,500 price point. Now, there's 2, of course, arguments to be made for that. Either one, you're saying I only have 4 other competitors, so I can easily undersell them and sell it right away, and the price can drop. So you can just continuously see a small amount of competitors that you're really going to have to deal with. And so when it comes to seeing the prices go down, you know, there's not going to be as many people you're going to have to compete with. However, you can also make the former, which is, hey, there's 5 of them. Some person just sold for $4,500. Well, now I can just list it for $4,600 because no one else is going to list it for that price. Or you could say, okay, $4,500 is last sold. I'm going to have to sell it for that price or lower. There's an argument to be made both ways. But more specifically speaking, if you're just going to look at it from a general listing perspective, when it comes to just general volume, it's going to be just, okay, there's 10 people listed on TCG Player that have Vivid Voltage Elite Trainer boxes. These 10 people, all it takes is one sale for one of them to massively move the market, because one sale could be a 5% difference in what the lowest priced is, versus you have hundreds of people coming in and they're slowly and incrementally dropping the price down by 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, because they have so much bigger of a supply when it comes to the kind of competitive landscape for what is Brilliant Star booster boxes. So obviously, I've made both counter arguments and arguments to both of the statements made, so it really comes down to the interpretation, but I still want you to understand both sides so you can really kind of say to yourself which one you think is more likely to happen. But before I kind of go down that rabbit hole and just keep going on and keep kind of pressing it, the ultimate point that I'm going to be making with this video is I now believe that initially I was right, and the price point of $100 to $110 is still in a possibility. Is it 100% guaranteed? Of course not. Nothing's 100% guaranteed. But with that being said, it's a high probability. Now, going back to the 115 price point, because obviously I told people, hey, if it is the bottom, is it a good opportunity to get in at 115? Now that we know it's more than likely not the bottom, is 115 still a good price point to get in? As it currently stands right now, for those people that did get in at 115, I want you to know that I still stand by my statement at 115, because if you took the general advice that I made, which was understanding $2 cost average, 115 at current prices compared to 2 months from now, when the expected market is going to, more than likely tank with Brilliant Star product prices, You don't know what's going to happen. You could see a gradual like incline before the lead up of the reprint, and you could potentially sell it for that 130, 140 price point. Or you could say, hypothetically speaking, it dips, and like I mentioned before, you're going to just dollar cost average at that 110, 105, 100 price point if it goes any lower. So it's just going back to managing your risk and knowing the risk point for that 115 is still a good price. Now, for those people that are saying, okay, then with that being said, should I get in 115 right now? If you've gotten in 115 as it stands currently, I don't think it's a bad price point. But now knowing what we know, I would say that it's less of an assurance to get in 115 than it was prior, which is so funny to say because it's literally a one-day change. But either way, if you want to get in 115, I still stand by my statement saying that it's not bad, but it's less of an assurance that it's going to be the bottom, because you have to look at your risk to reward. The risk to reward on Monday for is it worth getting in at 115 was a pretty high reward for a generally like, you know, moderate risk, because you're saying, hey, if this is the bottom, then great. You know, there hasn't been any news of wave 3 coming out. Wave 2, it looks like it's kind of petering out. So the possibility that this price point is going to go up before there's any sort of announcement of wave 3, there's a pretty good opportunity. But then once, of course, you know, yesterday the news was announced, hey, wave 3 is confirmed, then you're saying to yourself, okay, we know wave 3 is confirmed. 115 is still a good price point, but the difference is since wave 3 is confirmed, there's a possibility that you could see the market kind of do a little bit of a shakeout and prices start to slowly go down before the lead up and then the eventual dump. So of course, like I said before, 115 is not a bad price, but you have more certainties that you're able to kind of judge into whether or not it's worth, you know, buying in at that 115 price point. So either way, I'm not going to fault you for 115 is the point I'm trying to make, but the difference is you have more certainties now that have been confirmed. And so when it comes to playing the game of patience, you know, it's much better to wait at this point. But if you already got in at 115, you still got in at a really good price that you can always dollar cost average down when the price continues to drop. Or like I said, if it does, you know, lead up to continuing to climb in price before, you know, that May, you know, whatever it is, early May, mid-May reprint, and then you also were able to get a good bottoming price and sell near the top before the reprint. So that's just kind of general strategies in which you, and then the way in which you want to go about it. And as I've mentioned many times before on the channel, you know, this is not financial advice, it's not a financial advisor. I just kind of lay out roadmaps on different strategies that I've used or different strategies that you can use in regards to how you want to effectively kind of play the game. I say these are your options on how you want to do this, and you choose the option that fits best for you. And that really comes down to, are you a short-term investor? Are you a long-term investor? Are you, you know, a medium-term investor? Are you just a collector that wants to get in at the cheapest price and open up product? Like, there's so many different strategies that you can choose from, and there's so many different arguments and counter arguments to be made, because nothing's definitive in this market, you know? So that's why I always say you make your own decision when it comes to this stuff, because it is at the end of the day your money that you're spending, and it's your kind of, you know, motivation that you're going to have, because it's different for everyone. So last thing I want to kind of point out before we wrap up the video is I did notice, and I had a lot of people ask me about this, there was a general discussion about this with Evolving Skies. And I want to make this statement too, because I think it's an important statement to make, and it's going to just go back to a reiteration that we made not that long ago on the channel. So first and foremost, we're going to go to Pokedata.io. Shout out to them. For those people that don't know, they're a really good source of information. Specifically for Ultramodern, they don't have a huge kind of sales history because they are a relatively new site, but Ultramodern, they have a really good averaging of prices. They've got a really clean UI, and then two, my favorite part about them, they have a portfolio tracker, so shout out to them. But we're going to have a conversation about Evolving Skies, because for those people that, of course, have been asking me this question, Eli, the price point of Evolving Skies is now gone up to 150. The price is inherently, or 152, depending upon how you want to look at it. Price has inherently gone up. Is, you know, is it going to, when's it going to get the reprint? I'm going to stand by my statement in saying this. If more than likely it hits that 160, 170, 180 price point, I think that's going to be your kind of reprint. And here's going to be my argument for that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And then I'll tell you what kind of I would say to that if I am wrong. So if we go just take a look right now, let's just say sealed product, Evolving Skies, Pokedata, So if you want to take a general look at how the chart for Evolving Skies has been, obviously the lowest point in which you're able to get your Evolving Skies booster boxes at one point was $100, right? The highest point in which you're able to get your booster box, obviously this is more of an average, but if you took a look at, like, say eBay prices, for example, then the cheapest you were able to get it for was around that 190 price point. So historically speaking, one of the things I've found very fascinating is the market, specifically for ultra modern product that is popular, they tend to follow each other a lot when looking at their charting patterns. So if we take a look at Vivid Voltage, I've made this argument before, and this is going to kind of be my final argument for why I think there is a high possibility that you do see an Evolving Skies reprint based on price point. So back during 2020, when there was a huge amount of demand for Vivid Voltage, the price got all the way up to around $230 per booster box. You had a reprint. The price went all the way down to around the 120 price. That is a near 50% drop, right? And this is in peak demand, guys. Make note of that. Slowly started to climb, slowly started to climb, slowly started to climb. Went to around that 150 price point, 160 if I'm correct. I remember it being on TCG Player. Now the reprint happens, absolutely dumps, and then it goes below $100. Obviously, once again, this site is more averages, so take everything here with kind of like a plus or minus, depending upon how well you know the market during that time. Obviously, I literally tracked the market for videos for you guys, so I knew what the prices were when you went to TCG Player and eBay. You're basically getting it for around that $100 price point. So, as I've said before, the Pokemon market tracks a lot of, or I shouldn't say tracks, but it follows a lot of the same patterns you see in traditional markets. It has that similar concept of lower highs, lower lows, higher highs, and higher lows. So when you're looking at a typical downtrend, when you have a high of 230, and then it drops down to 120, and that's your low, and then it tries and goes up again and has another high of 150, but then the high is $80 off of the previous one, and then it has a low that is $20 off of, or 20% off, depending upon how you want to look at it, of the previous low. You're literally just going lower every time it makes a low, and every time it tries to go higher, it makes a lower high. So that's just what a general downtrend looks like based on what the charts are telling us. Evolving Skies, obviously this is pre-release prices. This is not pre-release prices, so we're looking at right here after the initial release. The price hit its kind of top out point at around 190. Once again, it says 172, but averages. The chart is just really clean, so I like to use the chart. It got its initial first drop, and the price went all the way down to around $100. So it once again had a massive, massive price drop where it went, basically also down 50%. It almost followed to a T the same exact percentage Vivid Voltage did if you look at it from this point. Then you see it start to steadily climb. And based on this website, obviously it says around 140. And then as we can see on TCG Player, it's going for around 150. So taking that exact same argument, if you say to yourself that it's going to potentially follow the exact same pattern of Vivid Voltage, which so far it's been literally 1 for 1 in charts, then the prediction that I'm going to make is you will see the price go to 160, 170, or even as high as 180 and follow exactly what Vivid Voltage does, and then you'll get that reprint, and then you'll probably see it retest that $100 price point. And I know a lot of people think that's a crazy statement to say because they say, Eli, $100, this is one of the most popular sets. How could we ever see it revisit $100 again? Kind of the same argument, of course, was made back when Vivid Voltage happened. When a booster box goes up to 240, goes down to 120, and then starts climbing again and goes back down even more, it's going to be a lot easier for it to go crash from that 150, 160 price point down to 100 than it is from 220. And even from that, 220, 230 price point, it still dropped down to 120, which is still a massive drop. That's like an $120 drop. So in my opinion, of course, I don't think it's unrealistic for it to make that $50, $60, $70 drop back down to 100. Now here's where the argument changes, and here's what my backup statement is going to be for you guys. At the end of the day, the argument is always going to be, in my personal opinion, if you want to get in Evolving Skies, just wait for the reprint. Reprint is like almost 100% certain. Of course, nothing's 100% in life, in this market, so I'm going to say 99% certain. Reason for that, I've made videos talking about, just general wave rotations of, competitive formats. Evolving Skies is part of the competitive format of rotation that isn't going out until the end of 2023. So historically speaking, Pokemon Company is more than likely going to reprint it since it's still a competitively viable set. So with that, no matter what the price goes up to and then drops from the reprint, I'm still going to say if you're going to get in, the reprint price is going to be the best price to get in at. Now, here's where the argument changes from the long-term macro perspective, because this is the most important perspective to have a conversation about. If we see it make a higher high, and what I mean by that is the last high we made on Evolving Skies was 190 booster box. If you see the price go from its current price up to 200 or higher before it gets a reprint, my biases change, and I immediately think that you're going to see Ultra Modern specifically start to get bullish again. Because that shows us that after the initial reprint that brought it down to 100 bucks, it was able to retrace the entire thing and go back to a point that was a higher value than it was to its prior peak. So, once again, like I said, making a higher high. So more than likely, that shows us general strength in the market in regards to demand. And when it does get that reprint, it's more than likely going to reprint down to a price point of 120, 140 as the new bottom. So that's something you want to take into consideration, because that right there is a higher high and a higher low, which in a reversal trend is what you want to typically see. Now, of course, if it doesn't do that and it goes and it hits that 160, 170, 180 price point, it gets a reprint. And we'll just say that for the sake of, potentially whatever is going to happen, finding the bottom, it hits $100, it hits $120. Then we know that specifically 100 is a major area of support or a major pocket of support. And if it hits that 120, then we know that the market is in a kind of indecisive area where, hey, we don't have enough steam to go up, but we know there's a ton of demand at this current price point of $100 to $120. But either way, I wouldn't get extremely bearish on Ultra Modern continuing to go down unless it breaks below $100 in the next, reprint price point. And do I think it's going to go below $100? I do not. I do not personally. And the reason for that is because I think we've been in a bear market basically for the past 1.5 to 2 years now. And typically, historically, what we've seen with the Pokemon market is bear markets tend to end in the next 3 to 5 years. So you usually have about a 2-year period of downtrend activity, and then you'll see kind of flatline for a lot of prices. And then the ones that are the leaders in the market will tend to start go up. You've seen a lot of WotC product actually start to kind of do a little bit of a reversal chart. And so if Ultra Modern does the same and it finds that bottoming point, I wouldn't be surprised if you started to gradually see prices of Ultra Modern product over the next, 6 months or so slowly start to climb before we get into our next bull market, because this market can change on a dime. But either way, like I said before, I don't think it'll get to below 100. If it does, we're more bearish than I realize. If it does go to 100, then we know that's a huge area of macro support, which we kind of figured. If it goes to 120, then we know that the demand has really started to gradually rise for Evolving Skies booster boxes, and we are looking at a side of indecision in this overall general market, which is going to lead to us finding that potential reversal in the overall prices of Ultra Modern product so that they'll stop dropping and they'll start to go up again. So hopefully that makes sense. Obviously, like I said before, I really wanted to address my thought processes in regards to Evolving Skies booster boxes and what kind of my plan is, because I'm never going to be 100% right. So I'm going to tell you if I'm right, this is what my plan is. If I'm wrong, this is what my plan is. End of the day, you're going to probably want to get in at the reprint, because more than likely it's going to be either a short-term or a long-term bottom, and there are going to be good opportunities at whatever price point that reprint goes down to. So, but wrapping up the video and getting to the main points for those people that just want to skip to this point in the video. So main point of the video, one, it was just announced per Danny Phantom, my source, that coming in May, we're going to be getting a reprint for Brilliant Star. Point number two, if you got in at that 115 price point, I personally believe that that is not a bad price point to still get in. Like I said, with my backup strategy, dollar cost average is still going to be the next step in, regards to if the price does continue to drop. However, I would not personally advise about getting in at 115 right now, knowing the news that we have, because there is a level of certainty knowing that the price is going to drop more than likely lower once May hits and wave 3 comes out. Point number 3 that I'm going to be making is once again going to my argument with Evolving Skies. I do believe we should expect to see a reprint of Evolving Skies happen relatively soon. If it does get to that range of 160, 170, 180, as we've already climbed to 150, so wouldn't be surprised if there was a reprint hypothetically in May. Of course, there's no confirmation of that, but all I'm saying is that based on what historically the Pokemon Company has done, there's a reprint that's expected to happen relatively soon. And of course, if I'm wrong with that and it does make a higher high and it does go above its last high of $190 and it gets to 200 before it gets an initial reprint, then that will change my biases, and I believe there's an argument to be made that the potential bear market is over, and when it does get that reprint, it's not going to go down to that $100 price point. It'll go down to 120, it'll go down to 140, and that'll be your best opportunity to enter one way or another, depending upon whether it reprints at the price of 170 or it gets to 200 or reprints from that point or higher. Either way, when it gets to a certain reprint price, that's probably going to be your best opportunity to get in at a long-term or medium-term bottoming price. So that is all we have for today's video. As always, if you would like to enter into our weekly giveaways, all you have to do is be subscribed to the YouTube channel and then leave a like and comment down below on any of the 3 videos we post each and every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Of course, since you can comment and like on each of those videos, that allows you to enter in multiple times. And then on top of that as well, we are having 3 winners that are each going to win 8 billion star booster pack. So multiple ways to enter, multiple ways to win. And then once we hit our next milestone of 2,500 subs, we are then going to increase the packs allocated to the winners from 8 to 12. So we'll be giving out a full booster box of brilliant star packs to you guys each and every week. But as far as it goes, thank you guys all so much for your support. I can't thank you guys enough for the continued growth that we've had of this channel. Wouldn't be able to do without you guys. But that is all for today's video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Until then, I will see you guys on Friday. Peace.